Welcome back to another episode. Today is going to be part 2 of Dr. Noah's fabulous episode. This time we're going to be talking about illnesses and what you can do and have ready to get your kids through another school season.
Hey mama, it is Celia from Bougie Mom Friends. If you are trying to find balance being an amazing mom while still trying to find time for you, you are in the right place. My co-host Cami and I are here to talk about all of the things from trusting your instinct with your kids to carving out space for self-care and even indulging in a little pop culture escape. It's all about real conversations with moms who get it because we're all about thriving, not just surviving. So take a breath, grab a drink, and join us, your Bougie Mom Friends.
It's back to school time, right? The kiddos are going to come home with all kinds of stuff. So let's dive into the big ones. We've got ear infections. Yeah.
Pink eye.
So I know they love to prescribe antibiotics for ear infections, which doesn't really, they feel better for like a couple days and then they're back at it. So what do we do?
A few different things are great for ear infections. For acute and also chronic. One thing, especially, if you tend to get ear infections, kids have them more than once. Cutting out dairy is amazing. Honestly, cutting out all dairy, even the good quality stuff. Again, if you just get one, don't worry about it. But for kids that get them every few months, cutting dairy does wonders. Getting chiropractic care in your neck also does wonders for chronic ear infections. Those are two easy things. One thing that we keep at home and also we travel with, you can get this like garlic mullein ear oil. There's a few different brands of it. I have one from like Herb Farm. We forgot it when traveling. I think I have like 5 at home because like we forgot it. Oh, kid got something. Let's go to Whole Foods or let's go to Sprouts or whatever. And it has amazing results. You basically just put like 2 drops in a kid's ear, whatever the bottle says. It's like a mix of garlic oil, mullein oil, and a few other things. But that can work really well from in the ear directly. I've seen it work amazing. If kids need, sometimes taking things orally also is really good. I'll use sometimes a tincture Usnea, which has really good antibacterial properties. And it's great for kids. Also, sometimes I'll use another one, Scutellaria bicalensis. It's a Chinese herb, and that also has some good antifungal and antibacterial properties. So all the times I like to hit it directly in the ear, give them something orally, and then again, working on the neck and cutting out dairy at least until they're better. But then again, if they get chronic, try cutting out for a couple months and it can really help.
Interesting. That's awesome.
Good to know. What else you got? Okay, it's stomach flu, stomach virus.
Oh, yeah.
Those are tough.
Yeah. Repairing afterwards, like what should we be feeding them? Because we all know like the bread diet is not like legit. So
right. It's a tough one. I think it does depend a little bit on the kid and the time of what sounds good to them. I should say what healthy sounds good to them. Okay. If they point at a bag of potato chips, no, don't give into that. If they point at ice cream, no, don't give into that. But again, healthy, nutritious foods, if they want to eat meat, great. If they want to eat fruit, great. If they want to eat a really good quality piece of bread, great. At least let them see what feels good.
Okay.
One thing that I use to kind of like mop it up is Takasumi. It's kind of like activated charcoal, but it's made a special way from bamboo. And I find that can work well just to like bind up the toxins going on and help you clear it faster. Some people say if the stomach flu is going around, if they take it, it'll help them not get it. Doesn't always work. But if it's going around, taking it for like a few days, then in some people really is beneficial.
Good to know.
Is that good? Just taking it to mop it up, like in general?
Mop up your system?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't recommend taking it daily for months on end. I've had some patients do it, but in circumstances like that, it's great. Otherwise, with a lot of patients, I'll use it maybe for like a month or 2 as like a detox to help bind and get junk out. And then again, depending on your lifestyle, where you're living, how your health is, you might do that once and never again. You might do that once every 6 to 12 months, just again, depending on the person.
Okay. All right. How about like fevers? What's dangerous?
That's a
This
good
is
question.
I am so happy you asked this.
I know it's just for you.
Because fevers, I feel like if you're just a standard basic batch like me, you get out of the hospital and it's like fever and it's like every 3 hours, this or that. And I'm just like, is this right? Like,
Yeah.
I need the answer, Dr. Noah. What do we do for fevers?
I mean, the first thing to throw out there is a fever is one of your body's defense mechanisms to kill off the infection.
That's what you always tell
if you
me.
heat your temperature, microorganisms can only survive in a very narrow spectrum. So if you heat your temperature, that's your body trying to kill it off. So one thing, if you take a fever reducer of any type, that's actually going to slow down your healing process. So you're going to be sick longer. That's one thing to keep in mind. There's a lot of soft parents out there. And I mean, I don't like to see my kid sick. I don't like to see my kid in pain. Believe me. But if my kid is kind of like just mopey and has 103 fever, it might be a movie day on the couch and I'm going to comfort him and put a cold compress on him, but I'm not going to give him something to lower that fever. I'm going to help their immune system. I'm going to be giving them vitamin C or like acerola. I'm going to be giving something like elderberry, which is a good antiviral. So I'm taking it serious. In terms of what's healthy, I mean, brain damage is until about 107. You don't want to get anywhere close to that. 105, you can get febrile seizures, which thankfully my kids have never had, but they're scary. They're safe. They don't harm the child, but they're scary.
Yeah.
But again, 107 is like where you start to get damage. Everyone has a different line. I mean, for me, 103, I'm okay with. 104, I might consider. And again, at 102, 101, 102, 103, I'm giving my kids stuff. I'm giving them things to boost their immune system, fight it, cold compresses, whatever I can do. If they get to 104, that's when I might consider giving them a fever reducer.
Okay.
Everyone has their own line. It also does depend on your kid. You know your kid better than anyone else. You know how they're acting. If they're like limp, you got to do something fast.
Yeah.
But, if they're just a little tired, a little lethargic, if they're acting okay otherwise, let it ride out. I mean, one thing, because like you mentioned about travel things, I mean,
yeah,
fever reducers, besides slowing down the healing process, I mean, every fever reducer has its positives or negatives. Like acetaminophen will affect glutathione production versus ibuprofen will affect the kidneys. The other thing is kids' fever reducing medication, if you look at the ingredients, they're horrible. I mean, if you go to Walgreens and you're like that, the fever medication is going to have blue something, red something, yellow something. It's going to have sucralose or aspartame or ACE-K. The other ingredients are disgusting. There's one brand out there that I've recommended to people called Genexa, and their goal was to make good quality of normal medicine. So like they have a Genexa Kids acetaminophen, which again, I don't think acetaminophen is good for you, but it has a organic agave syrup, organic flavoring, and nothing else. So it's like we were traveling around Europe for a month this year. So I bought a bottle of it to take around with me because just in case my kids needed it, I wanted to have it on hand versus having to buy the crappy stuff in the store. Thankfully, we didn't open the bottle. It sat unsealed for the whole trip, and that's perfect. My kids had a couple snotty noses. We dealt with it normally and they did great. But I think, having that on hand can be really good. It's actually becoming more popular. Sometimes you can even get it at Whole Foods or like even at CVS, they have it sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's one thing to consider. But again, 103, personally, I'm okay with it. 104, depending on how they're acting. 105, I personally would lower it, definitely. But 104, typically I would.
Okay. As you brought up snotty noses, so what do we do when the common cold comes around?
And starting at what age too? Because like Lakin's a toddler. No, for the common cold.
Yeah.
What do you do and starting at what age? Because like vitamin C supplements, like things like that. Like Lakin's 2 and I just got my first vitamin C supplement. Roos or
Mary Ruth.
And I was like, oh, I'm like an officially like a
crunchy
good
mom?
Not a crunchy mom, like a good mom. Like I'm not just waiting for it. If I'm gonna, we know what season. I mean, I'm in Michigan. It happens. But yeah, at what age, and then what are the good type of like, if we are going to do supplements, etc.
So, I mean, being prepared is smart, in my opinion. Having things, because your kids are going to get sick. That's how they build up their immune system. That's normal. It's how they respond is normal or abnormal. One thing is if your kids get sick, do not feed them sugar. If you eat white sugar, it's going to decrease your white blood cell activity by like 50% for up to 8 hours. So when your kid says, oh, my throat hurts, can I have some ice cream or some Jell-O? No, don't give in. It's going to make them worse. It's going to weaken their white blood cells and their immune system. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Certain supplements I won't give till kids are older. A lot of things I'll give, I say like once they start taking food. So if a baby like under 6 months, like my youngest daughter, she had RSV at like 6 weeks old. I didn't give her anything directly. I gave everything to my wife. She did well, get it through the breast milk that way, in addition to breast milk. 6 months and older, at the younger ages, I kind of say like 6 months older until they can start to swallow pills. Once they can start to swallow pills, it opens up a lot of other things. Two of my favorites are acerola, which acerola is a really high vitamin C compound because, sometimes vitamin C as sold on a shelf is ascorbic acid, which is generally made from genetically modified corn. And they use a lot of acetone and other types of solvents to make it. It can be beneficial, but it's still not natural. It's more pharmaceutical than natural, in my opinion. So I like to use things like acerola, which is a high natural vitamin C source. So that's one thing. If things are going around, I might give them a low dose. If they're getting sick, I might give them a high dose of that to get more vitamin C in their body. That can be really beneficial. Camu Camu is another good one that's high vitamin C. But those are two things for vitamin C that I use. For your common colds, which are generally going to be more viral, I will use elderberry a lot. Elderberry is safe to use with kids. Again, dosage and all of that type of thing. But elderberry is safe to use with kids, and it has great antiviral fighting properties. So that's one thing that I will definitely use 6 months or older to help. And, those are two of the most common things.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have anything for COVID, RSV?
Oh.
Any tips for those two big ones?
With COVID, it's shifted so much depending on the strains. Like for 4 months, I saw these work. Then for 4 months, I saw these work. Then for 4 months, I saw these work.
Yeah.
I think getting in an acerola or Camu has always been beneficial. Getting in zinc has always been beneficial. Good. But like a lot of the herbs that I use have really shifted a lot.
Okay.
RSV, using elderberry can be really beneficial. Acerola can be really beneficial. Getting in some zinc can be really beneficial. Having them breathe in essential oils, depending on the age, like eucalyptus, can be really beneficial to open up the airways. What we did with my 6 week old is we actually went upstairs to the bathroom. We turned the shower on as hot as possible and closed the door. We didn't go in the shower. We basically made our bathroom into a steam room. And then we'd hold her for like 10 minutes and I'd be like dripping essential oils into the shower water to like vaporize them. And I used some eucalyptus, I used some oregano, things like that to really open up the airways. And that was a couple things that I did to really benefit and help. And it would it didn't do magic, but it would clear for probably 20 minutes, which is great at that age when they're not breathing well.
Yeah, that's scary at 6 weeks, man.
One thing just to add in with that, one of my favorite for kids respiratory, I mentioned this a little bit with ears, but Usnea, USNEA, it's a tincture, and traditionally it's used for a lot of respiratory issues, especially bacterial. So it's not just great for viral, but it can be good for bacterial infections and for respiratory issues. And I use a tincture of that. And like the tinctures I use, they're generally in glycerin, so they taste good. So like my kids, they just take them straight in the mouth and they think they taste like candy. Like if I only want to give it to one kid, I have to hide it because if the other kids see me giving it, they're like, I want. So
I don't know if maybe this is partially an answer to the question I was going to ask. I have one more medical one, and that's strep throat. Because strep throat, it's always you have to take an antibiotic or it won't go away, and then it can cause this and it can cause that. Now I'm like terrified of strep throat. So do you have any suggestions for that?
That's a good question. I mean, streps have been going around a lot lately. Someone actually just shared me an interesting article about fluoride consumption and an increase in strep throat.
No way.
Not sure if that's a big
not
prevalence
surprising.
or not, but could be.
That's interesting.
It's definitely been super prevalent lately. You do have to be careful with it. I mean, I'm a hit things naturally at first, but I'm also at times you might need more. So again, keeping an eye on your kids, watching how they progress. You know, don't be so stubborn that you won't give something pharmaceutical if you have to. But again, that's never where I'm going to go right away. But don't be so stubborn that you wouldn't do it. You know, so again, if someone has, and again, it depends on the age a little bit. You know, let's say like 5 and under, I'll hit them with things like Scutellaria bicalensis. Again, that's an herb. It's a great antifungal. It's a great antibacterial. I'll use a tincture on that. If they can gargle with it, even better. But basically, I'll just have them take that orally multiple times a day. Usnea, that's another good one that sometimes I'll do, and just boosting their immune system again with like acerola. You know, so those are things that I'll try to hit heavy. Once the kids are a little bit older, I like to use some other herbs too that are a little more antibacterial. Golden thread, which is Chinese coptis, that's one I really like, or sometimes morinda, which is noni. If the kids are able to gargle with it, even better. But otherwise, taking those orally can be really beneficial. If you're able to gargle with salt water, that can be beneficial. You know, there's a lot of different things you can do, but again, you just have to keep a very close eye on it. I would always start natural, but then just keep an eye on progression.
I love that.
All right.
Thank God for ChatGPT to help sum up some of the transcript from today, because like, I'm like, I don't know if I could remember anything or everything that we talked about, but I feel like you need to create your own dictionary book, basically like the Dr. Noah book of herbs, of health and herbs.
Yeah.
But what I love about this conversation is there's a lot of repetition of some of these supplements and herbs that you can use for multiple. There's like cross benefits.
Well, we hope you really enjoyed part 2 of Dr. Noah's fantastic episode. We have part 3 coming to you next week. We're going to be exploring biblical times and things that were actually written in the Bible, and how he and his father test these things that were written and how they actually affect our health in present times. It's really fascinating, really interesting. You're going to want to tune into it. So we can't wait for you guys to listen next week.